Hey, 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 it's Thursday. Hello, everyone. Today we are going to do another dog from our Pups and Portraits watercolor book. These are some examples of dogs we've done in the past, and so far we've done 5 dogs, it looks like. So we're going to keep working on this, get these dogs done. So here's our Pups and Portraits book. It is available on our website at ericajoanne.com. And it comes with 12 different designs and 24 pages. So each design is duplicated once or twice. So there's 2 of each design in this book. Gonna just make sure my focus is good. Today we're going to be working on this little guy. This is a cattle dog mix. And he almost looks like a Dalmatian maybe, but he's a cattle dog mix. I'm not sure what the mix is. These are dogs that come from a shelter. So I just have a photo reference and we just go from there. So we'll be working on this one. He's white with little like kind of grayish, like dark spots. So get your Pups and Portraits book out, and you can either tear out the page, or you can leave it in. It is perforated for you, so you can tear it out. And then you can also like work with a friend and have someone else do another one with you, or you could do both at the same time, whatever your preference is. But it's kind of fun if you do. We have people that like to do these books, and well, because they're small and just fun to do in a quiet evening or a Saturday afternoon or something, just something that doesn't take too long. And that was kind of our goal with these small little mini watercolor books, was to have something that you could do quickly. And so, anywho, these books are great. We have friends across um, the United States that are using these books, and some come back and tell us that they have a stressful job, and this book has been really nice for them to just sit down, get their colored pencils out and their paint, and have fun. So the colors, excuse me, we'll be using today are carbon black. So carbon black looks like that. And I just got to check on something really quick here. I don't, hold on for just a second. I'm just going to look at something. So we have a section on our webpage where you can get the supplies for this book. And we're just using a few pencils and a few paints to keep it simple. And I always encourage everyone to use what they have. If you have something at home, just go ahead and use it. We like it when you do that to start, because we want you to just get started and have fun with this and not feel constrained, like you can't do it, you can't participate. We want you to have fun. So the colors we have available for this book and what we're using particularly for this book, we have 4 pencil colors and we have 7 paint tube colors. So one of them is carbon black. One is brown earth. These are my Josanya tubes. I just love Josanya, and that's what I like to use. Excuse me. Grab a paper towel here. Some of the other colors are Naples yellow hue, I'm not sure if we're going to be using all of these today, but these are the colors that we want you to have available to do all the dogs. So yeah, we do have these paint colors for sale as a little kit on our website, or you could just use what you have. We also want pine green, which is this green color. And they look dark on the labels, but when you get using them, they're very vibrant, wonderful colors, rich. Rose pink. That's our tongue and our sometimes our nose color. And warm white. See where my warm white is. This is a tube that gets used a lot, so we are down to the last bit on this tube, warm white. And one more color, colony blue. Okay. So those are the 7 colors that we're using throughout this book. And you can see, like in this last dog we did, I used the colony blue on this area right here, and then a little bit in the eyes. So we use these different colors randomly depending on the project. So, okay. And then you have 4 different pencil colors that you need. You do need black. Let's see if I can pull mine out here. Here's my black. Excuse me, I am kind of getting over I had the flu and stuff, so I'm getting over all that. Poppy red. I still kind of have a lingering cough. You know how the cough just stays with you sometimes. And this is sienna brown. And then cool gray, 10%. So those 4 colors. These are Prismacolor Premier. They're a wax-based Prismacolor. They're awesome. Awesome, awesome. Okay. So if you go to my website and you look at shop at the top of the page and then scroll down one, it says Erica Live on YouTube. And then it will show you some of the projects that we've done so far on YouTube. And then you'll see the pups and portraits supplies, and you just go to that and it will give you access to purchase the different supplies. Okay. You need a few other things like grinding sharpener is so nice to have. I really love my grinding sharpener because that makes it so my pencils don't break as easily when I sharpen them. You need basic painting supplies like your water bucket, your paper towels, a brush. I like to use a small round for these projects. Sometimes we might use a liner. And this is a mixed media. So just to kind of go back, I didn't really explain that too much, but it's mixed media with paint and color pencil. We do our painting washes first, and then we go over with color pencil to do our shading. Okay, so we're going to get started on this little cattle dog mix. He's the first one in the book. He's so cute. So let's give him a try. It's nice to have something like a little palette paper, or something to put your paint on. And or like you could even use a plate, whatever suits your fancy. Let's put a little bit of carbon black on our palette to just begin. You don't need a lot, you just need a little chocolate chip. I'm going to look at the comments really quick. I haven't said hi to everyone. Thank you for being here. Hi, Jackie. You guys probably thought I wasn't going to finish this, but I promise I'm going to finish it. We might be like an every other week type thing, but we will get this done. So I really want to get all these dogs done. Thank you, Cindy. It is super fun, really fun to work on the dogs. My daughter is a lover of dogs, and she is the one that works um, at a shelter, and she kind of knows her dogs. Yeah. So she's the one that took all the pictures for these and compiled this book. I just love it. Okay, I am using a number 3 round, and this is a Josanya, and it is a, select round, has the black, bristle to it. It's a very soft black bristle, and, yeah, so you just need a small round brush, and we're gonna water down our project a little bit first. I wanna try something. I'm thinking it will work. We'll see. I'm hoping. Okay, so what you wanna do is just go ahead and add some water, just clean water to your dog, okay? And stay within the lines of, the outer lines of the dog. We're gonna do water over the face. You don't have to really do it too much over the ears, just mostly over the face where the dots are. So just where those dots are, okay? Let's start with that. And then take your black and pull it out from your main puddle and make a new puddle and water it down a little bit, okay? So you create kind of a transparent dark gray, okay? Now, I'm just gonna go over to one of these spots that has it still should be water. You can see the water on the surface, and just lightly touch one of those dots. And I want it to spread a little bit because that's how it looks in the photo. The dots are not, like, really clean cut, they kinda spread, the color spreads. So, do that to all the dots, and it will because this is an etched surface, it's gonna spread into the lines of the etching, and that's okay. That's okay. But you can kinda see how it does, like, emphasize those dots and then spreads past the etching. That's what I'm wanting to get, is that kinda spread. Okay. Okay, try to get them all. I have a few down here, some near the nose, like that. Let's see if there's any that I missed here. We're gonna do the ones on the legs too. We will be coming back in with a little more black to darken up those spots, but we gotta let it dry a little bit. Okay. So I kinda like that effect, that's so fun. Can see how it just kinda spreads. I did lose some of that there, so I'm going to, add some water to those, clean water, and just get them to kinda spread a little bit because I lost that over here. I didn't have enough moisture on this side. Okay. Oh, kinda flipping around water here. I'm gonna pull up some of that moisture. It got a little bit out of the line, so I gotta get that off too. Your brush can act like an eraser too, if you have clean water in it. It can be like an eraser. Okay, now we'll go down onto the legs. So I wanna put some clean water down there. Let's put some down here by the leg on the legs. Stay within the leg, up here on these spots here too. Let's do both front legs. Okay, and back with our kind of dark gray. going on. Let's touch those spots. Oh, there's a lot of spots down here on this right leg. Okay. And then we have some on this back leg too. So clean water first, and then touch the spots with your black or your dark gray. Okay, definitely need more there. Okay. I'm just letting it spread. Now I really want it to dry so I can go back in and deepen some of the color on those spots. But we gotta let it dry first before we do that. So this is definitely how the dog looks in the picture. It has these spots that are just kind of like I wish I could show you the picture, but I don't really know how to put it up there. So um but yeah, the reference photo, he just has all these spots that kind of bleed into each other. It's quite interesting. Okay. So we'll let this dry, and I think I'm gonna force it dry with my heat gun. Okay, so this is my heat gun. I love the Ranger Heat It craft tool. It's so nice. Puts out some good heat and dries your area pretty quickly. And as it's drying, it will curl the paper a little bit. All you have to do though is give it a shot in the back with the heat gun and it will go back flat. Okay. How's everyone doing? Let's see if I have any comments. Oh, puppies make you smile. Hi, Cheryl. I'm glad you're here. I know I was thinking about you today because we had talked yesterday and you were said that you maybe could come. And I had to change things up a little bit. We are going to do a different YouTube live next Thursday that won't be a dog. So the dogs are going to be like every other week. And then we are going to start this new series of projects. So I'm excited and it's going to be a surprise. I can't tell you any more about it, but it's coming out in the email today. You guys will just watch the email. You can see what it is. Okay, I really love how it's spreading. We'll go back and deepen the color on those spots. And I'm going to bring the camera down a little bit more so you guys are closer. Before I move on here, let's move it down. There we go. Okay. All righty, let's go in. I'm just using that same wash. We're going to go back and just repeat those dots, but we don't have any water on the page now. We got a lot of good, just kind of spread. We got a lot of that going on. So you know how we watered down our black so it's like a dark gray. Make sure you have that, and then just go back in, and we'll just kind of touch those spots again and make them darker. And this little guy, like I said, is a cattle dog mix. And he's cute as ever. So this is, we're using the Josanya paint line and we're just watering it down like watercolor. The paint is made to be like a gouache. So you can use it both opaquely and transparently. Okay, so I went back in and did all that. Let's go down here to the legs and do the same. Just go in there and touch all those little spots. There's a lot on this right leg. Okay. Left leg, get a few in there. I'm looking at the main image, and he has even more spots on his legs than I see here. So I'm going to throw in a few more here and there, coming up the leg a little more. And he has some down on his toes. Maybe bring a few more on this leg too. And I'm just adding some right over here by these like these larger dots. I don't like them just like out there in the open, just this big large dot. So let's add some small ones around it. So it feels like they fit in better that way. Okay. I think he's good with his spots. All right. That's what we're looking for. Kind of spots that are a little bit of a little bit of spread going on with the color and then darker spots in the middle. Now take your black and we'll do the a wash on the nose. It's kind of a same thing, transparent wash, just go over the whole nose. I could probably go darker than that. I'm going to take some of the moisture off, add a little more pigment to my wash. If you have a just a scrap piece of watercolor paper, that's nice to have nearby so you can test your paint on a scrap before you go to your main surface. That's always nice to do. I'm just trying to get it a little darker. That will do. It will dry, be darker. Okay. And we're going to go in with our color pencil too. So he also has some light, kind of like some black around the teeth. That line right there is his teeth. And then on the outside of that, it's black. He has like black lips coming around the bottom there. And it goes all the way up to that line of teeth. So just skirt the black right around that line of teeth. The tongue is red, so we'll leave that. We're gonna bring this black all the way up into the top of his smile. There. On both sides. Bring that black all the way up. Okay. And then try to leave that row of teeth white. Leave it white. Okay, one last thing. His ears are dark too. So let's go in and add some black to his ears. I'm starting on the right ear. Try and stay in the lines. And there is like you can kind of see it. There's a line here on the top of his head, and it kind of curves down in front of his ear. You want to fill all that in with the black too. And then on the other side, it's the same thing. There's kind of a line that comes onto his head. You just fill all that in with the wash. Yes, this is a new time, Cheryl. I might even go to 9 AM Pacific time. So I'm still before I send that email, I gotta make that decision. I did 10 AM today, but I might end up going 9 AM just so that I can get it done early in the day. This is a different time than we've been doing. We've been doing a lot of afternoons, and for some of you, that is late into the evening. So, but this is yeah, right, today was 10 AM Pacific. I'm thinking next week might be 9 AM. Hello, Elaine from Missouri. I love that this dog too. It has a sweet smile. He's a sweet dog. Okay. Right, we do have a little gray on the tail. I'm just gonna have you put just a little gray right in here on the tail. And then we'll go in and do our detail with our color pencils after we get a few more colors done. We're gonna use our rose pink. Oh, we also need to do the eyes. Let's do the eyes first before we get into rose pink. So it's still the watered down, washy black, which is kind of like a dark gray when it goes down. Go ahead and fill in the eyes. Got a big bubble of color there. So I'm going to try to tone it down, not so much moisture. Okay, both eyes, just black. You can fill in the whole area of the eye. I went a little far with that. That's okay. He does have some black in hit around his eye, so I'll just leave it. Some of this will go in with some shading with our color pencil. Okay, now we need our rose pink. Yeah, does that work better for you, Cheryl, this new time? Earlier in the morning for us, that would probably be I'm trying to think of where you are. That might be like, if we do it at 9, that would be like 11 your time. Okay, so I just watered down my rose pink and I'm washing in the tongue. And I've got a big bubble of I'm just putting a little too much moisture. So you got when you get a big bubble of moisture, you can just tap your brush on a paper towel and remove some of that excess moisture. Okay, let's see what else do we got. He does have a little red, like some kind of gummy It's like his gum is hanging down a little bit there. I think I'll just leave that. That's good. And then let's use the same color for the collar. It's this little stripe that goes across his front. That's the collar. I apologize for the late notice on this. It really kinda came down on me last night where I was like, "Okay, this is what I gotta do." So, kind of a last minute decision, but, yeah. So I'm sorry for the late notice, but one thing to know is that you do have these videos here on YouTube. They're here, and you can watch them anytime. So you can go back and watch the lives and their replays. So you're good that way. All right. Well, that's good for all our washes of paint. We'll let that dry and we'll go in with our color pencils next. Oh, good. Yes, Cheryl, that's wonderful. Okay. So I'm going to maybe just shoot that, give that a little heat so it will dry. Okay. All right, the next color I want to use is our, a lot of times I go in with the lightest color first. So I want to use this 10% cool gray. I'm sharpening it so it's nice and sharp. You want a nice sharp pencil when you work. I'm just going to add some gray areas and we'll just kind of keep building our shadows as we go along. So let's start up at the top of the dog. Oh, I noticed I didn't get a black there. Let me just get that in here. There's a spot right there I missed. Get that in right there. Okay. So since that's wet now, let's move down. How about, let's see here. How about in this area here under the chin? Let's put a little gray in there. And I'm just starting out where it's darkest. Got my darkest gray, and it's just right under the chin, using a little more pressure on my colored pencil, and then bringing that color down into the chest area, but I'm gonna let it fade into the chest as I come down. So let it just fade in. The way you do that is you use less pressure on your pencil. And I like to work in layers, so there's a few layers going on with my pencil. Um, I keep going back over my coloring, especially the darker areas, and get that to blend into the lighter areas. And the lightest area should be just a feather touch of your pencil, and it should just blend right into the white. Okay. So it's hard to see that on camera, but that is there. This color does show up. It's kind of a light gray. Okay, now I think I'll go up here by the ear. So I'm going to do a little shadow kind of underneath the area of the left ear. And I'm working around my spots. I don't want to color over my spots. I just want to work around them, kind of bringing that shadow so it's darkest right next to the ear. And then as I come down, I'm just kind of letting it fade across the face, working around all those areas. Okay, so like so. We do want to leave some white areas here and there. So um, our shadows are going to be just wherever it's darkest on this reference photo. Let's work around this eye. It's darkest around the eye and then fades out pretty quickly from the eye. So I'm leaving some white areas up there. And if you go too far with your shading, you can always use your eraser to go in and just kind of lighten some of the areas that maybe you want to leave some areas white. You do want a mix of the white areas and the shadows going on. Okay. So I worked around this eye. This eye will work around that too. There is a little darkness in the reference photo under the eyes, kind of like around and under the eyes. Okay. Now let's bring the shadows down a little bit into this left cheek, working around the spots. And then a little bit on top of the nose. So this bridge of the nose, let's just add some shading right there above the nose. And then let's kind of go around the nose. I think, yeah, he has it pretty much all the way around the nose. There's shading. So I'm just going to bring it, it's darkest right up against the nose and then fades pretty quickly from there. I'm going to bring it all the way down to right above the tongue. I'm using a duster brush to dust away my pencil crumbs as I work. Okay. I think the face is good so far with this color. Let's go down into the body. We've already done the chin. And let's do right here in the mouth. Let's put some in there. You can just color that in this little area right here. Keep the teeth white. And let's work kind of like on these little lines. Let's put some color there over those lines in his chest area. He's turning out cute, huh, Cheryl? I love him. He's really cute. Okay, we're continuing on down. Let's see. Our shadows are right in this area. So underneath um, the collar, down between the legs, let's put some shadows here. And it's darkest right at the bottom of that area, and then lighter as you come up. And I'm also going to bring some shadows down here where the spots are on the left leg. You can just work around, just kind of fill in that area right around all the spots. That's kind of shadowy on my reference photo. So we'll work around that. And then I'm going to bring it up here a little bit and let it tie in with the shadow that's on his chest, and then I'm going to let it fade. So kind of let it fade from there. So it's darkest down here at the bottom of that leg, right in there, and then it lightens up as it comes up to where the chest is and then fades. Okay. Now let's work on the right leg. Same thing. Darkest down at the bottom. So put a little more pressure into your shading. You're working around the spots. And then up the leg. around the spots. And then as you come up closer to the chest area, you can start to let it fade into the upper leg area. He's looking cute. So if you're new to my channel, I'm Erica Joanne, and I'm from the Pacific Northwest. I love to do mixed media with paint and color pencil. I have a whole website, lots and lots of patterns, and we have subscription boxes and lots of things to offer. And then I'm trying to be on YouTube as much as I can in between other things going on in my life, but I try to be on as much as I can. I'm trying to build up that library here on YouTube. Okay, so moving up, we got this area right here. I think I'm going to just leave that light right in there. I think that's a nice little effect. So we'll go and do some shadows on this back leg. It is more shadowy down at the bottom of the foot. So we'll start there. Work around your spots as you come up. You're basically just kind of coloring it in with a little more pressure to make it darker. Okay, come up. So these are little mini make projects that we're doing on this YouTube channel. Things you can complete with me in a couple hour span of time. So it can be an afternoon, a fun Sunday or a Saturday, just enjoying art with me. And I have lots of videos that you can check out and catch the replay. Okay, so I'm working around these spots here. I'm still bringing my shadows up the leg, and I want to start fading that, but I want it to be a little darker right up against this front leg. We want some shadowing there. Okay, and I'm just going to let it fade as it comes up there, like so. And then to finish off with this pencil, let's do a little bit of shading at the bottom of the tail. It's darkest right there at the bottom of the tail. Let it fade as it comes up the tail. And if you're on my email list, you'll get my emails and notices of what's going on with me and what's coming out and stuff. We have an exciting new thing coming out today. So if you get on the email list, you'll get notice about that. And you can join the email list on our website at ericajoanne.com. It's you'll be able to catch that email as it goes out today. So exciting things coming to the YouTube channel and to our website. So be watching. Well, hello, Raina. I think that's her name, Raina. Hello from Alaska. So you missed the beginning, but you want to go back and make drawing painting like this of my little cutie patootie. Oh, that's awesome. We have a few of you that are out there wanting to do your own dogs, and that is wonderful. So you're just kind of getting a feel. I have my daughter actually did these drawings, and they're from reference photos from shelter dogs because she works in a shelter. And so it's not, as hard as you look. You just kind of have to um, I think it's always good to do a photo, get a photo first of your animal, make a little line drawing, and then try to colorize it from there, just looking at the photo. Thank you, Cheryl. She loves the little mini projects. Perfect for in between the big projects. Yeah, sometimes we kind of need those little ones, right? To keep us going. Okay, I think we're good with our 10% cool gray. We can put that away. And we'll move in. I'm believing we do need to add a little, just a tiny little brown. So I'm going to bring my sienna brown pencil in, that sharpens, and then we'll finish off with the black pencil. Okay, so this sienna brown pencil is going to do some shading on our red areas, and I'll add a little bit to our dog just to warm him up a little bit. So let's put some shading right here at the top of the tongue. You can just go ahead and add a line there, and then bring the shading down into the tongue. You're lightening up your pressure as you come down. And let it fade because you don't want to overtake all the red. And remember, you have an eraser. I'm going to soften the edges of my light value so I can see the red a little better. Okay, wipe away those little crumbs. So it's darkest right at the top, and that can just be even a line across the top, could be your dark value. There we go. Got a little shadow in our tongue, in the mouth area. Okay, I'm going to bring that over that line over and complete the smile, and then shade under that also in that area there. And I want to leave the teeth white, but I think I'm going to put a few lines in there to indicate the teeth. So just a few, just to kind of pull in that these are teeth. Okay, just a few. Fun. He's cute, huh? So cute. Okay, let's put a little brown on the top of his nose. Just a little bit there. We'll warm up his nose a little bit with some brown. We will do some shading with some black too, but I'm going to add a little brown right there, the top of his nose. And then let's move up to the top of his head. I'm just going to work very lightly, just a light pressure, like a feather touch at the top of his head over the shading I just did with the gray pencil. We're just going to warm that color up a little bit more with some brown added to it. So light pressure, and you're just barely touching the surface, but adding a tint of brown. So, and you don't need to go over all the gray there, just, kind of at the edge. See how I kind of warm that up a little bit? And then let's bring that brown underneath the eye. You know how I said the eyes kind of had some darkness around them? That there is a little bit of light right up against the eye. So I'm going to leave that, but go underneath that and add some brown in that area. And let's do that on this other side of his eye or the other eye. Leave a little bit of lightness underneath the eye and then add the brown there, just a tint. I'm also going to add a little tint of the brown just above the eye, right in this area. Hi, Rain. Yes. So Raina has a questions about shelter dogs. Does she use them to get them adopted? Yeah, this book is this Pups and Portraits book that these dogs come from, or that she drew, all come from pictures that she took of the shelter dogs, and she did use those photos to get them adopted, and I'm pretty sure they're all adopted by now because this was a few years ago. So, I'm pretty sure they all are. The dogs go pretty quick. So, unless they have, like, major health issues, the dogs get adopted, which is nice to hear. But they sometimes just they're inundated. So many dogs, and sometimes their shelter can't fit them all. This is just so sad and just a really, um, good thing to know about your community and your dogs in your community. There are so many that go to shelters. Some people will take their dogs to shelters because they're moving, but they'll tell the shelter that they found the dog instead of saying, "I'm moving and I don't have a place for my dog." They will tell them that they found the dog on the street, kinda thing. So they get a lot of dogs like that, and how sad for those dogs, to be so confused at what's going on, you know? Why is my owner giving me away like this? Um, but yeah, things like that happen, and they just do find dogs all over the community and bring them into the shelter, and sometimes the shelter just cannot accept all the dogs. They have to scramble and see if there's neighboring shelters that can take the dogs, or even foster homes. They have a lot of foster home, um, like a big list of foster home. These are volunteers that will take the dogs in and have them until a shelter can take them or until they get adopted. So I'm just adding the tint around the nose, like so, just warming that up a little bit. He's coming to life, yeah. So Jackie says you adopted a shelter dog in March and she has been there a long time before we came along. Oh, that is very sweet, Jackie. I'm sure your dog is so happy to have a home. So happy to have a place to call home. It's hard for those shelter dogs. Um, they're sad. A lot of times they're sad. Okay, let's go under the chin. Little shadow under the chin. You can become a volunteer at a shelter to go in and help feed the animals or even just like spend some time with them. Some animals are not adoptable because they are so mean and um, they might bite, kind of thing. If they're really kind of like a violent dog, sometimes they're not adoptable. But a lot of times you can go in and volunteer, and it's such a nice thing. Also, shelters will take donations of dog food and dog things, dog toys. They get all kinds of donations, dog blankets, all kinds of things. They also have at this particular shelter that she works for the county. They have rabbits that come in. They have cats. They've had a horse come in. They've had all kinds of things. Okay, let's go ahead and shade the, sides of the collar. So it's gonna be darkest right up against these side edges, and then lighten up as it comes down into the collar. I love talking to my daughter about her work. It's just so fascinating and interesting. All the people that work so hard to help the dogs and the animals. They all do love animals so much, they wouldn't be doing what they do if they didn't. And then they also have the security people that go into homes where maybe a person has deceased and there are animals there, um, or maybe someone was arrested and they got to take hold of the animal and bring it into the shelter. So many things I had never even thought about. I'm gonna take some of my shading off because I really do wanna see some of that red there. He's turning out very cute. I can't wait to use the black pencil on him. Let's see. Cheryl says, "We adopted our dog 10 months ago. I cannot imagine life without her." Oh, that's sweet. What's your dog's name? Okay, let's go down into this area here, this kind of like bottom of the chest area. Let's just put a little bit of shading down here with our sienna brown. And then we can kind of follow that line there and a little bit of shading next to it. Not much, just a tad there. Kind of add that. And some shading down here, the bottom of the legs, adding a tint of brown. Remember, it doesn't need to be very dark. It can just be a touch of brown. Coming up the leg a little bit. Let's do the same thing on the foot. I am going to put a little more shading right in this area because I don't want it to be just this dark line there. I want it to kind of be shaded around that line. Let's do the same right here, a little shading right up against the body. We're on the back leg. Darkest right up against the body. And then some on the tail, just at the base of the tail, a little bit there. I'm going to put some right here on the or left side of the leg, right in this area. Okay, just touches of brown. You can see it's not a lot, just touches. That was our sienna brown pencil. And we'll finish off the pencil work with our black pencil, Amber. Cheryl says her dog's name is Amber. How sweet. I love that name. That seems like your dog is a soft dog because Amber seems like a soft name. Okay, we have the black pencil. We're going to start at the top of the design, going back to the top. We're going to start on adding shadows to our ears. Okay. So Cheryl says they think her dog is part Jack Russell Terrier and I don't know how to say that name. Basenji. She's a crazy girl for sure. Only 1.5 years old. Oh, sweet. I love it. Okay, so we have some darker shadows right under the ear. So we got the little flap in the ear. So our darkest area is going to be right under there where that ear kind of flops down. So just fill in that area down underneath the ear with the black. And then let's put a little shading right at the tip of the ear and then kind of bring it up the ear a little bit, but we don't want to overdo it. We want to see some of the gray area of the ear where the light hits the top of the ear there. It will kick up some pencil dust, so make sure and brush it away. Okay. So doesn't that look like once you bring all that contrast in there, it just makes it look like it's so real. Okay, we'll do the same under this other flap. I'm going to fill in that whole little area there. And then Beyond that, just let the shading continue. We'll just continue that shading over into this little spot on top of his head. Okay, now same thing. Let's do a little bit at the tip of the ear and then bring it up the ear. But don't overtake all of the ear with your shading. You want to show some of that lightness at the top of the ear. Cute, cute, cute ears. Okay, I'm going to make sure my pencil's nice and sharp, and I'm gonna lightly line down the sides of the body. Follow the etched line to do that. Try not to make that too dark. You just want a light line, okay? Okay, I'm just gonna stop there, and I'm gonna work on the head now. Let's fill in our eyes. Got some darkness going on in those eyes. Should be nice and deep dark black in the eye area. And try to get your eyes to match as much as possible. Mine weren't matching very good, so I'm gonna try and get them to match a little better. So they're about the same size of eye. We will put highlights in the eyes later on with some paint. Okay, now we can go in and darken some of those spots. I don't want to do them all because I kind of like the variable of different colors. So just some of your spots go in and randomly darken. Maybe you can choose them by if they're already kind of dark already, you can just deepen them a little more. And then you can shade some of them, like just put a little shading into the spot and then leave the rest like as is. So we want you want some darker spots, some gray spots, some light gray spots. Okay. So that's good enough, I think. Right. I'm going to kind of line right underneath those eyes and put a little shading in that area. And oh, I got to be very careful with this. I want it to be very light. We're just deepening that color under his eyes. Very, very light. You're just barely touching the surface. There is a line right here. Do you see that line? You can fill that in and shade right up to it. Let's do that on both sides. So there's a line right here. Gonna shade on that side too. So I specialize in doing art that's fun and easy, and I take out the guesswork for you so that you can have fun doing art too. We have lots of surfaces that are etched with the pattern already on it, and it's on wood and paper. So it's so fun if you go look at our website to see all the different patterns and kits available for you. And this is art that's been thought out. It's step by step. We've figured out all the steps for you, and we put those in the pattern. And if you're not really confident working on a pattern by yourself, we have lots of teachers that are certified in this method, and they teach classes. So you can look them up on the teacher page of our website and see what's going on with them and when their classes are. Okay, so a little bit of shading around that kind of muzzle area. Now let's work on our nose. Now I want to go in and do the nostrils first because those are going to be our darkest area of the nose. And then our shading is going to be darkest right at the bottom of the nose. So that's going to be your dark value right there. And then bring it up from there into the nose. Just kind of work around those nostrils like so. So you should see a little um, variegation. You've got the lighter kind of brownish black at the top, and then it goes down and gets darker as it goes down the nose. And then let's shade a little bit under the nose. Keep it very light though. This is your second layer of shading. You just worked over, you just put in your sienna brown earlier. So this is just kind of going over that and reinforcing that shading underneath the nose. Very light. I'm going to put my little line right in here. And then we also have a line on the tongue. You can put that in too. And on a few of the teeth, you can put a little bit of black in between the teeth. And this dark area, kind of the bottom of the chin, you can add a little bit of shading there. I'm not going to totally fill it in though. I'm just a little bit of shading. Okay, coming down. Here we go. Let's see here. There's a line right here. I'm going to kind of fill that in with my pencil. And I don't feel like I need any more shading on the collar. So I'm going to leave that. I don't feel like I need any more shading underneath the chin either. So I'll bring it down. Let's see. Let's put some shading or put some line work here just to kind of reinforce that area. And let's put a little bit of shading up against the body there. And let's put some shading down. Well, let's start with line work. Some line work down by the toes and between the toes. You can kind of see where she's put a few lines there. Kind of line those around like that. And then let's do some shading on, how about this back toe? A little bit of shading there, a little bit of shading on that toe, just a little bit at the bottom. There's a line right here. You can add that line and then do a little shading away from that too. I'm barely touching the surface. Okay. And then we'll do some shading on our spot on our tail, some of the base of that spot. Let's do a little bit of line work around the tail. I just skip it along. I don't want it to be a dark outline, just a light outline. Okay, we are almost there. We're just going to do a little more shading at the bottom of our legs here, and we are good with our black. Okay, so let's do a little line work on the sides down here where it's darkest. And then you can let the line work just kind of fade as you go up the leg. Let's do that on both sides. So fade up the leg a little darker at the bottom. Let's let it fade. And then let's do a little shading down at the bottom here. And just like we did with our black on the other areas, it's just a feather touch, very light. Okay, and this one too. I'm putting a little black right up there. It's right here. And let's put a little bit down here in this left corner. Okay, we are good. That is awesome. Okay, I'm going to pull out the focus so that you can see it better, the whole thing. Let's see here. There we go. Okay, so we got all our pencil work done. We'll just go in with some paint and add a little bit of highlighting to finish this dog off. So fun, so fun. I hope you're enjoying yourself. All right, so let's see. I wouldn't mind putting a little blue on the nose, actually, um, and a little white in the eyes. So put a little colony blue on your palette and a little warm white. It's a little happy dog. I'm going to start with my brush that is slightly wet. It's damp. Add a little warm white to your brush. Take your brush. I'm going to show you really quick. And just wipe it on a paper towel. So you just have a hint of color on your brush. Let's put a little highlight here at the bottom of the collar. And if you need to add more warm white, you can do that. Just so it's nice and bright. Just a few little dots or little taps. Maybe I should bring it in a little closer for you to see again. Hold on here. Look at this mouse working here. Okay. So a few little taps of color right in here of the white. Let's do the same on the tongue. Just do a few little taps of white on the tongue. And you can kind of also take that white and just dab some of those teeth so they stand out a little better. Okay, tap on the tongue. Okay, now our eyes. Let's see, those highlights, I would like them to be kind of in this little kind of top of that um, little hill in the eye. Just put little taps of color there. You can even add a few other dots underneath that. Okay, love it. Okay, now let's grab our colony blue. I'm going to put some highlights on my nose, and that's also just taps of color here. There. I have it kind of watered down there. I really don't want it watered down, so I'm going to take that off. I just want taps of color. You want it bright enough so you can see it. So you might have to go back in and add another coat. It's kind of more on the right, upper right side of that nose, right there. Okay, I'm gonna go back in with my white and just get those eyes nice and bright. So in case you didn't quite get it the first time, you can always go back in with a second coat. Get those nice and bright. All right, that is it for this fun dog. I hope you enjoyed yourself and got some inspiration too. He's fun. He's so cute. Our little cattle dog mix. So if you are interested in the, let me do this really quick. It's hard to talk while I'm getting the uh, focus right. So if you're interested in this little book, it is on our website. It's called Pups and Portraits, and it has 12 different dogs in it that are duplicated. And you actually, I'll show you what you get. You get a nice little case with this purchase. You get the dog book. You get a little ornament that you can personalize for your dog. You can put their name on it. These little ornaments can be painted with paint. They could be painted with both paint and the color pencil like I do, or you could just do color pencil. It's really great. MDF is wonderful surface for color pencil. It's got a little easel so that you can display your dog on the easel. It also has the back of your book has a perforated piece that you can pop off and glue your watercolor paper to, and then display on the easel. So you got a lot of options there for displaying. On the back of your box, you have all the dogs there and what's going on with this thing. You can also go and watch the videos on my page. So you can watch them here on YouTube, or they're also on my webpage too. So I hope you enjoyed it today. I sure did. He was fun. I loved him. He's so cute. So we will see you again. I am switching over to Thursdays, so I'll be on Thursdays. Next week is a special mini make. So it's a special little project that's different than the dogs. So it's a little departure from the dogs next week, but then we'll go back to the dogs again after that. So we're going to keep doing these dogs till we get all of them done in this book. All right. So nice to see you today. Toodaloo.